What up? Welcome to another Commander deck list. Today we're talking about Narset Jeskai Waymaster. This is a Jeskai deck, obviously. 3 mana, 3/4 at the beginning of your end set. You may discard your hand. If you do, draw cards equal to the number of spells you've cast this turn. I call this deck Cool Lady Sling Spells, and it says estimated Commander bracket 2, and I actually kind of agree with that. I think this is very close to a precon, interestingly enough, which I didn't really make it out to be. I didn't want to be high power, I wanted to be pretty budget. But yeah, this is kind of sitting around precon range, I think. Maybe a little bit higher, but with some of the new precons, it's hard to tell. Either way, the deck's just looking to cast a lot of spells and then discard like maybe 1 or 2 cards and then draw 5 cards with your commander. And that's kind of all it does. So yeah, Arcane Signet. Obviously, mana rocks are really good in this because they're casting spells to ramp. I guess casting spells that ramp you lands is also good, but in these colors that's a little hard to find. Felwar Stone, again, 3 color. I typically play Felwar. Mishra's Bauble. This is an interesting one. I think the effect of looking at the top player, target player's top card is good, but you mainly want it for the draw, and it draws at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep, which means it gets around the discard with Narset. Monument of Endurance, obviously a super strong synergy card with this deck. Whenever you discard a card, choose one that's been chosen, draw a card, make a treasure. Each opponent loses 3 life. You discard 3 cards at the end of your turn. You're burning the table, making a treasure, and drawing a card, which is really good. Soul Ring is Soul Ring. Springleaf Drum, because we have a lot of token makers in here, so might as well take advantage of kind of a 1 mana rock. Swiftfoot Boots for protection on the commander. Talisman, Talisman, and Talisman, because I just think these are probably the best 2 mana rocks outside of like Arcane Signet. And I mean, like, yeah, there's expensive ones, but these are always good in a deck, I think. Thought Vessel, in case we're drawing too much and we just want the ramp a bit. Vexing Bauble, it's kind of a thing that lets you draw a card. It's a mini stacks piece, not letting people cast free spells, which our deck doesn't run any of, but it's 1 mana that can draw a card and it can stop people, which is nice. On the creatures, Balmor, Battle Mage Captain. Flying, whenever you cast instant or sorcery, creatures get +1/+0, gain trample till the end of turn. Like I said, we're playing a lot of token generators, so you have like 4 or 5 1/1s, and then they bump up and they're like now 3 or 4 1s with trample. It can be a lot scarier late game. Chasm Skulker, 3 mana 1/1. Whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. When it dies, make X blue squid creature tokens with island lock, or X's number of 1/1 counters this creature has. So obviously you just get this to 1 end step, you're already usually getting at least 3 or 4 draws. And then it's just kind of a pain to get rid of without like an exile effect or a bounce effect. Dragon Rage Channeler, we're casting a lot of non-creatures, so the Surveil is really nice. The Delirium, making it a 3/3 flyer that attacks every turn, isn't bad. But yeah, it's mainly for when you cast non-creature Surveil 1, which is really nice. Elsha of the Infinite. This is an older Elsha. It's 5 mana, 3/3 prowess. When you may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may cast non-creature spells from the top of your library. If you cast a spell this way, you may cast it as though it had flash. I guess I could let us cast like our artifacts or sorceries at instant speed, which is nice. I think this is just like a decent value engine card in case you're stuck with all lands in hand or like not great creatures. This lets you extend to draw more at the end of turn. Elsha Threefold Master. This is the other newer Elsha. 3 mana 1/1 trample prowess, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, make that many 1/1 white monk creature tokens with prowess. If you get this up to like 4, it's hard to block, and then even starting with 1 monk, it can snowball. Gutter Snipe, 3 mana 2/2. Whenever you cast instant or sorcery, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. It's a little bit of burn with Spellslinger. Inti, Seneschal of the Sun. Whenever you attack, you may discard a card. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample until the end of turn. And whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile top card of your library, you may play that card until your next end step. I believe this would work with the commander. Like you could, at the end of turn, discard 3 cards or discard however many cards and then exile 1. You're already in your end step, so your next end step would be the next turn you take. So I believe that would work. It's a little bit of discard synergy. I don't have much in the deck, but I think Inti is just a very powerful card. So I put him in. Lear, Disciple of Drown, 5 mana 3/4 spells can't be countered. Each instant sorcery card in your graveyard is flashback. The flashback cost is equal to the card's mana cost This just lets you cast spells from your grave, which is nice if you have nothing in your hand, especially later on in the game where you're probably have enough mana to cast like the 3 or 4 spells you drew the previous turn. So this just lets you extend that. Monastery Mentor, obviously super good in the deck. 3-mana 2/2 prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, make a 1/1 white monk token with prowess. So this is just like a great token generator. It's probably one of the better ones in the deck. Also, this card is now very cheap. I highly recommend getting it at this price for like Spellslinger decks. Super good. Reality Everwise. When it gets +1/+0 for each instant sorcery in your graveyard. Whenever you discard one or more cards for the first time each turn, draw that many cards. So this, if you're not playing any cards that discard during your main phase, you discard 3 with your commander. You draw 3 additional cards, which is really, really good. It just like kind of gets rid of the downside. Runescale Stormbrood. This is a weird card I kind of just threw in the deck because I didn't think too heavily about it. This is one of the Omen Dragons from Tarkir, so you can cast the Chilling Screech as a instant to counter target spells mana value 2 or less, or at any point you can spend 4 whenever you cast a non-creature spell or a dragon spell. The Screech gets +2/+0 until end of turn. This is, I guess, a decent flying beater, but it can also be a counter spell, so it's kind of just in here for its versatility. Stormkiln Artist, I don't know. He says Stormkiln, but it's just like any Spellslinger deck wants to play it, not Storm specifically. It's just a great value engine. Whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery, create a treasure, and it gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control, so it can become big. Third Path Ironclad, 2-mana 2/1. Whenever you cast non-creature, make a 1/1 soldier. It's kind of just a token generator. Veronica Dissident Scribe. Whenever it attacks, discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And then whenever you discard one or more non-land cards from the first time each turn, make a junk, which is tap it, sack it, exile top card of your library. You may play this card this turn, activate only sorcery. It's another way to get a little bit more value to your commander. If this is on your board, you're almost always guaranteed drawing 1 the next turn. Drawing 1 being exiling it. So I guess it's impulse drawing instead. But yeah. Veyran, Voice of Duality. Whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery, it gets +1/+1. And casting or copying an instant or sorcery, if it causes a triggered ability of a permanent to trigger, it triggers an additional time. I think we're playing enough like Ironclass, Monks, and token generators supposed to be good, and Prowess is nice. VV's in the deck. I said budget and then I put VV in the deck. I don't know. I just have a VV and it kind of works really well. Also just making additional mana or being able to burn and put 1/1 counters to make it bigger. I mean, the card's broken, right? But it's kind of just in here because it fits the theme. Obviously this is budget, so if you don't want to spend 35 American dollars on the VV, don't. I don't know. The deck really doesn't need it. I've played this a bunch without the VV and it works just fine. It's just like a good card to put in. Young Pyromancer, 2-mana 2/1. Whenever you cast instant sorcery, make a elemental. Again, just another token generator. On the enchantments, Jeskai Ascendancy. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Untap those creatures. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. This is a way to filter cards in your hand. It's also a way to just pump up your creatures for an attack. Or you can attack with a bunch of your creatures and then cast something and untap them all for defense. Omniseas, 2 mana. Whenever you draw a card, put a foreshadow counter on it. And you can remove 8 foreshadow counters to make a 8/8 blue Kraken creature token. So this will just over the game make 8/8s, which is cool. It's probably like once every 2 turns, maybe 3 if you're getting pretty unlucky with your draws or you're playing slower, but yeah. You can also cycle if you don't want to play it. Whirlwind of Thought, 4 mana. Whenever you cast non-creature, draw a card. It's just a draw card and it's pretty good to play. On to the instants. Big score. As additional cost to cast, discard a card, draw 2, make 2 treasures. It's a good way to replace itself with another card in your hands. Brainstorm, draw 3, put 2 on top. This is especially good because if this is your last spell for the turn, you could draw 3 and then put 2 cards you don't want to discard back on top of your deck, and then you just draw them again at your end step. So it's a way to kind of like save cards that you want to keep through your commander's effect. Brain Surge, same thing, it's just draw 4 instead of draw 3. Chaos Warp is, decent red removal. Consider Surveil 1, draw a card, it's a cantrip. Disenchant's in here for artifact and enchantment removal. Expedite, kind of just 1 mana draw card, but also giving things haste can be nice and versatile, so I like it. Frantic Search, just a way to filter, and it's technically free because it untaps 3 lands after. Generous Gift is removal. Gut Shot is a free spell. That's kind of it for early game if you want to get the spell count up. Lorn's Escape is just a 1 mana protection. Target artifact or creature gains hexproof and indestructible till the end of your turn. Scry 1. Scrying 1 is also a little bit nice, but yeah. Opt is just a cantrip. Scry 1, draw a card. Path to Exile is removal. Shelter is protection. Target creature you control gains protection from color of your choice till the end of turn. Draw a card. So it's kind of like a 2 mana cantrip, but it also gives protection. Snap is a free bounce, which is nice. Swords to Plowshare is good removal. Dual possibility, discard a card, draw 2. Just a way to filter your hand again. And then ignoring the lands because it's a very basic land list. I mean, yeah, $5. We're running what I don't know what these are called. The Pain lands, maybe. I'm not sure what these are called either. Enters unless you have a mountain or plain. Orchard, Command Tower, Path of Ancestry, Mystic Monastery. That's pretty much it. Reliquary Tower, just because in case we're drawing too much. And then yeah, sorceries. We got a board wipe, Austere Command. Blasphemous Act, another board wipe. Crash Through, creature control, gain trample till end of turn, draw a card. When you're going really wide and like a lot of monks, for example, have prowess, this can be a game finisher. It also draws a card for 1 mana, so worst case scenario, it's a cantrip. Enter the Enigma, you can give a creature unblockable, also just 1 mana, draw a card. Expressive Iteration, look at the top 3, put 1 in your hand, 1 on the bottom of your library, and exile 1. You may play the exiled card this turn. It's kind of just a decent spell, and is it? My biggest problem with this deck was there aren't enough white spells, but yeah, I don't really know about that. But yeah, this card is just pretty good. Faithless Looting, Flashback, which is really, really nice, so you don't actually have to cast it from your hand, and you can reliably get it in your trash. Also just can filter cards. It's -1, but I think it's still good enough to play. Taxian Probe, free, draw a card. I don't know. This card probably goes in like most blue decks. Honor, put a 1/1 on a creature, draw a card. It's kind of just a 1 mana draw a card, but in white, which is nice, and the deck was missing a lot of white. Mizzix's Mastery, 4 mana, exile target card. That's an instant sorcery from a graveyard. For each card exile this white copy, you may copy the cast without paying its mana cost, or you can overload it for 8, which is really, really good later on in the game. So yeah, it can cast something for free from your trash, or just overload to cast everything later. Ponder's a really, really good cantrip. So is Preordain. Serum Visions is a little bit worse because it's draw then scry, but it's not bad. I think it's still good enough. Strike at Rich is technically a free spell. It doesn't draw you a card, which is a little bit of a downside, but it can help set up for a later turn, and it has flashback. Unending Whisper, 1 mana, draw a card, and it has flashback essentially. Or Harmonize, where you pay X and tap a creature. Yeah. Vandal Blast, destroy all artifacts you don't control, and you can overload it. That's nice. And then yeah, I'll go to the side or the Maybeboard quickly. These are just kind of cards that I wanted to try running, but I felt it was better to just kind of commit to Spellslinger. But you could build this in an interesting way. So I have Braylon and Shabraz in the sideboard. They both kind of complement each other but do different things. Whenever you discard a card, put 1 on counter on Braylon, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So obviously cards that say discard, when you discard, get a 1/1 or deal damage to an opponent is good because you are technically discarding every turn. You can kind of build a deck in a way where you want to discard like 5 cards. And I just didn't really want to do that. But yeah, you could do that. Shabraz says whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on them and gain a life. It's just kind of like when you draw a card, get good effect 1/1. Click in Sky Mage is another example. Whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1. I just felt these weren't like good enough to push the strategy. And I'd rather just play cards that drew cards or made tokens. Cloud of Fairies. This is just kind of a free card, but also when building this deck, I saw a lot of cycling cards that were being recommended, which I didn't really want to go in that direction. I think it's interesting, but not what I wanted to do. Also, here's a good card that should probably be played in the deck. This deck has like 1 counter spell and it's attached to a dragon. I just felt it would be very awkward to have a counter spell in a deck where you're constantly pitching your hand to draw more cards. Yeah, that was the big problem with the deck, where it's like I can have a counter spell and then nobody's gonna play a card that I want to counter spell on my turn, and I'm gonna trash the counter spell to draw 4 because I only have that in hand, then it's pretty useless. Magmakin, Artillerist, whenever you discard one more cards, this creature deals that much damage to each opponent. He has kind of those like discard burn cards that I was talking about earlier. Aether Drift has a lot of red and a little bit of blue support for drawing and discarding. So if you want to build a deck in that sense, I think Aether Drift's a really good set to look at. Niv Mizzet, I was trying in the deck. I don't know, it's just a good card. I like probably still play it, but it was more the 3 red and 3 blue pips. Made me a little sad because I want to put more white in the deck and it felt weird. Psychic Corrosion and enchantments that mill opponents. There are a lot of those that depend on drawing cards and casting spells. And a deck that draws a lot of cards and casts a lot of spells, I think you could easily take in this direction. Unfortunately, I only found like 3, I think, when I was quickly making the deck list. And I didn't think it was consistent enough to actually play. Again, I wanted to just index into like, I don't know, casting a lot of spells and not doing other stuff among that. Just like committing to drawing with the commander and making tokens and stuff. Savine's Reclamation, I think it's a good card. I should probably put it back in the deck, especially with it being white, so it's just more white mana to spend. You can return target permanent with mana value 3 or less from graveyard to battlefield. If it was cast from a graveyard, copy the spell, choose a new target for the copy, and it has flashback. When you're discarding your hand every turn, obviously you're not playing all your cards, at least in the early game. So yeah, this would be good for that. And then yeah, Shabraz. Next card, Underworld Breach. I don't know, this card's just broken. When you're discarding a lot of instants and sorceries, or even you're just casting them again, pretty good. And yeah, that's kind of the deck list. I mean, I'll go through the Rex quickly because it hasn't been that long. Kaikar is interesting when we cast non-creature, make a spirit, and the spirits can add red. Archmage Emeritus to draw cards. I don't want to run too much card draw, because if you're drawing too much, then it's like, oh, do I discard my hand, do I not? When it's just simply play down to 1 card, discard your hand, draw 5. The Signets, I was thinking of playing, but I just didn't think I needed that many mana rocks. Lightning Bolt's always a good card, you could put it in. Stormcatcher Mentor if you want to reduce your instant and sorcery spell costs. I think I'm running enough 1-cost cards where I don't really want this. Grape Shot if you want to index more into like Storm and Spellslinger stuff. Jessica's Will is an amazing card. Just a little pricey. If you control your commander, each player may discard their hand, draw 5. Each instant sorcery has flashback. I think Will of Jeskai is alright. Maybe a little slow for 4 mana though. Windfall is an interesting card. I think this would be like a turbo late game card though, where you would go down to 1, draw 6, and then like hopefully try and play that 6. It's a little slow though. Pongify is great removal. Boros Charm is great protection. Remora, Petal, any 0 mana rock in this deck's probably crazy. Esper Sentinel is probably pretty good in the deck. Coruscation Mage if you want to do like a non-creature burn build. The Narset, that one attacks, you can cast something from anybody's graveyard. Obviously, yeah, counter spells, tutors, Corey Steelcutter. Talrand is another token generator. He just costs a little much. He's a little expensive. But yeah, that's the deck. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'll probably... I don't know what I'm looking to do next. I haven't actually had any ideas for any commanders recently. This was one of my back burners that I've been sitting on for a while, and I wanted to build, but now I don't have any of that. So we'll see what happens. But yeah. And as you can see, the cost, it's a little like low on white compared to blue and red. This is more like an is it list than a Jeskai list, but I think when you're doing Spellslinger, that kind of just happens. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back next week with something else. I'm not sure what yet, but yeah, see you then.